Dear students, as in our last slide, we have talked about Sri Aurobindo. In this slide, I will talk about the remaining part of this PPA presentation, and I will talk about his yoga philosophy. His yoga philosophy is expounded in two major works. One is the Life Divine, and second is the Synthesis of Integral Yoga. The first one, book Life Divine, is depicted in the slide. Now, what this Life Divine is, it is a greater philosophical work of our time. It preserves the truth behind each system, but the rejects its exclusiveness. That the truth is many facets. It's not that whatever I am saying or you are believing is the truth. Truth is a comprehensive thing, and one should realize, one should go behind this truth. Then the material denial of the spirit. Aurobindo believes that our spirit our spirit moves towards, attract towards two types of things. One is material, second is the reality. So the material denial of the spirit and the affordance to the reality of the matter. One should go to the reality of the matter, not to the materialistic things. He denies the denial of the assist, even the affordance, the reality of the spirit. He believes in the spirit, reality of spirit, but he does not say that one should be a yogi and one should be the leave this world. He does not accept this fact. He reconciles on matter, life, mind, and supermind. He makes a merge between the in an integral harmony. He has the faith in the mind, body, and the soul, and he reconciles all this. Now, the synthesis of yoga. The second important book of Sri Aurobindo is the synthesis of yoga. The first one is the philosophical work of Aurobindo, and the second one is the scientific study of yoga. And he believes that yoga is different from philosophy and religion. Now, what is philosophy according to Aurobindo? Philosophy aims at as discovering the highest reality, and its methods are those of the critical and the rational thought, not of realization. Aurobindo believes that philosophy makes a person realize the reality, but it does not make the think about it, and the rational thoughts arise after studying philosophy, but it does not lead to realization. And what is religion according to Aurobindo? Religion aims at connecting the individual to the highest reality. Its method includes rituals, ceremonies, and the belief of generations. So philosophy and religion is different, and the religion is different from the integral yoga. So he believes that whatever is belief and the rituals and the ceremony of the generation is called religion, which is accepted into the society. Now, Aurobindo believes that age of religion and the philosophy is over, and the deepest, widest, and the highest realization can have through yoga. Yoga is a methodized effort towards self-perfection by the expression of the potentialities latent in the human beings. So this is the yoga is the way by which a person can realize his self potential, and this potentiality will lead him towards self perfection. Now, yoga leads to the union of human individual with the universe and the transcendent existence. Aurobindo believes that it is only through yoga that one is able to have the universal being, union with the universe and the transcendent existence even after the birth. Now, what is the concept of yoga according to Aurobindo? The concept of yoga is a union of individual self with the cosmic self, that is absolute. I have already discussed. It identifies Brahma and we get yogic bliss. Yoga is conceived as a method, means, and the discipline by the practice of which rich salvation is attained. Okay, it is a path leading to self-realization, and this path is of the discipline or the union. As a discipline, yoga is a synthesis of the cognitives of feeling and action. This is Aurobindo believes that yoga is a cognitive effort by which we can have the feeling and action, harmony of feeling and action. Now, Aurobindo's concept of yoga. Arbindo's concept develops yoga with the scientific advances into the biology and the physics. First type of yoga is Jnana Yoga, that is path of knowledge. Aurobindo says that it is a path of self-realization through the discriminative knowledge. It is a form of spiritual discipline based mainly on the philosophical discrimination between the real and unreal, truth and untruth, spiritual and material, eternal and the ephemeral, and such discrimination can not only be attained by the bookish knowledge, though this is inevitable. Bookish knowledge is very important, but through bookish knowledge, it is not possible to get this type of get the complete discriminative knowledge of truth and untruth, real and unreal, materialistic and the spiritual. That is, now the Jnana Yoga, the discriminative knowledge, one has to meditate on the truth, and for this truth, one need concentration. Now, the concentration can be achieved through the withdrawal of the mind from the materialistic things and the terms as the reunion and the vairagya. Okay, so the red line is very important, that the Jnana Yogi lives amidst the temptative words but yet constantly seek detachment and the spiritual freedom. Hence, yoga is a part of those who are meditative, introspective, and the devoted. The next one is Bhakti Yoga. It is a liberation through the perfect devotion of God. It requires pure, perfect and the genuine love to God to bridge a gap between the invisible and absolute. It is a systemized devotion to the attainment of union with the absolute, and it is a pure love for supreme being. Then that Bhakti Yoga is a yoga that leads us towards the supreme being. Love for the supreme being means love for God. So this is very important. Then we have Karam Yoga. Karam Yoga is a system of ethics and the religion leading towards freedom from the unselfish and by the good work. Aurobindo advocates value of action. He does not favor asceticism and the living away from the world. One has to live in this world mixed with the good or the evil, pleasure and pain, and work and keep on working. Hence, Karam Yoga is a discipline of practicing detachment while working in this world. So, Aurobindo believes in Bhakti Yoga, and what Bhakti Yoga is? Absolute love for the for the God, pure love for God. Now, Aurobindo believes in the path of knowledge, that is Jnana Yoga, but this Jnana Yoga is the discriminative knowledge of real and unreal, pure and unpure, spiritual and materialistic. So Aurobindo believes in Karam Yoga also. He does not believe in the asceticism, that you would have to leave this world like the various munis of our ancient time. No, Aurobindo believes that you have to work in this world, but work for the honesty, for the unselfishness and the good work. And that work on and with the practicing detachment to the materialistic thing. Now Aurobindo, two type of actions are there. One is nivritti, one is pravritti, second is nivritti. The action which revolves around ego and the attaches with the objective word is called pravritti. The action which are renunciation, self-denial, sacrifice are called nivritti, and this nivritti leads us towards the self-realization. Now, what Karam Yoga is? Aurobindo says, Karam Yoga, do not make us give up the word, live in the word, imbibe its influence on as much as you can, and not for your own enjoyment's sake, but for the sake of whole humanity. Now, we have Raj Yoga. Raj Yoga is a path of philosophy. It is a way to realization attained by controlling mind and the body by subjecting them to the certain physical and the mental discipline. It is a control on the mind and the body. Bondage is due to the distractions of body and mind by wasting the energy of the soul. Now, the purpose of yoga is to arrest the activities of mind. And how this is possible? This is possible only through the concentration of mind and body. And what this called Raj Yoga. Now, integral yoga. What is integral yoga of Sri Aurobindo? Integral yoga, this is a scheme of yoga developed by Sri Aurobindo. It is a synthesis between all type of yoga. Aurobindo says, since the crisis of human beings are passing through the many kind, and the solution of all these should be of many kind, so the system require for the successive practice of each one of them in turn. So the integral yoga is important because integral yoga gives various solutions to the various problems. Now, the central dynamic force common to all the indignant method is the principle and the focus on concentration. All type of yogas come to the conclusion that the concentration is very important. Integral yoga is based on the concentration of entire being, our body and soul, conscious being to the divine, and the divine transformation transforms our entire being to the essential being. The process of yoga is as comprehensive as life and the integral as totality of existence. So the process is very difficult as our life is multifaceted. In the same way, the process of yoga is also different. It rises to the higher but brings down to the higher to the lowest. The purpose of yoga is to rise higher, but it's not only rise higher, one has to rise higher, but he has to use this knowledge for the human beings. In this way, it is not only the process to ascend, but also to the descent. Now, aim of integral yoga. Integral yoga is a novel concept of yoga. Integral yoga aim at the conquest of higher and higher pinnacles of consciousness, and crossing by the mind and over mind, it evaluates us to the supermind. It is the process and it leads to the supermind. The aim is not to departure from the world, but the life in the world, no, that is not nirvana. It's into the world. Now, the object sought after is not an individual achievement, but the divine realization, but for the sake of individual, but something to the gain for the cosmic achievement. Now, the purpose of this integral yoga is to get concentrated and get the union with the divine achievement, rise up to the supermind. But this achievement is not for the individual, but for the whole cosmic being. It is a method of total and the integral change of the consciousness and the nature. Now, this is not that we are living the lower platform and rising to the higher. This is a transformation, not the living of that. This yoga is not the retreating the old walk, but the spiritual adventure. This yoga can be called a spiritual adventure. This yoga is a spiritual adventure, not the living of the world. Now, the sources of the development of integral yoga, it is a contribution to the past system of yoga. Aurobindo studied all the past system, and then he came to the conclusion. The discovery of supermind was done by the various rishis, and the knowledge contained into the Vedas are indispensable. Vedas are full of the various experiences of various yogis, and this is depicted into the Vedas. Aurobindo believes that this is open knowledge, and this knowledge can be used in any time, any place, and by the any generation, and this is the solution of majority of the problems. Now, the world has to find solution to its present problem and has to rise to the next stage. Vedas are not the closed work, and this non-dogmatic approach and the openness of the Vedas open new field of yoga. Now, the chief characteristics of integral yoga. Integral yoga makes a synthesis of the traditional and the new way of yoga, which he himself has proved and perfected. Integral yoga contains high profound knowledge of Upanishad. It It plays a synthesis of love, knowledge, and the work as expounded in Bhagavad Gita. The tantric idea of divine perfectibility of human being is also incorporated in integral yoga. Some elements of Hatha yoga and the Puran yoga is also included into this scheme. Aurobindo has a vision of integral yoga as essential not only for the survival of human being but also for the fulfillment. In the nutshell, what is integral yoga is? We can say that the metaphorical foundation of this theory is his elaborate exposition of the theory of evaluation. It is used as a complementary phase of evolution and the innovation that culminates the spiritual transformation of human being. The aim of integral yoga is as a passage from the lower to the higher is twofold. दो तरीके से integral yoga करता है. One is, in the ordinary form, it conceives the passage from the lower to higher by rejecting the lower and escape into the higher. This is what our Munis believe. But Aurobindo believes that second one is a transformation in the lower to the higher, and this transformation is called integral yoga. We don't have to leave this place. We don't have to leave humanity. We have to live in this. We have to live in this world, but work for the humanity, work for the enlightenment and the liberation, and use this knowledge for the for the human beings. The method of integral yoga is a progressive surrender of ego. It is a sadhana that requires absolute faith, courage, and the inflaming purity. This is all about integral yoga. Thank you very much. I will be with the next slide on Savitri, and we will talk about the book which is in your syllabus. Till then, goodbye. I will share this PPTs in your WhatsApp group so that you can read it again and have the material of it, and very effectively you can understand what is integral yoga. Only then we can do justice with Savitri, which is in our examination. Thank you very much. Have a nice day ahead.